Hello YouTubers, and welcome back to Go Figure Customs YouTube channel. It's been a couple of months since I've uploaded any content to the channel, and I'm sure everybody's probably wondering, YouTube channels come and then they go, and has this YouTube channel gone? And it has not. As I've mentioned in previous videos, I work as a remote duty paramedic, and I work all over the world. So when I first started this channel, I was working in Ukraine, but my company lost that contract, so I went back to a company that I used to work for, and then I went to Africa for a while. And then COVID hit, and then I couldn't get back to Africa, so I quit. And then 2 days later, my company called back and said, would you please come back? We have a new job for you in South America. I hadn't been to South America yet, so I went there. And then my back-to-back quit on me, so I got stuck there. Luckily, I got a buddy of mine hired as my back-to-back, so now I'm home finally. And in my absence, a whole bunch of Joy Toy stuff came. So, not only am I back, but I'm going to do a review on, the first review is on the Crazy Reload SUV. This thing has been on, been seeing pictures of this thing for probably at least a year and a half now. On social media and pretty much just on social media, I guess. And have been waiting for this thing to come out. I know there was some production delays, and they had changed some of the sculpt on it too. So I think they had redone some of the parts as well. So here it is. This is the version 1. If you look, and I got this from Locker Toys. I pre-ordered it from Locker Toys. I had a pre-order for it through Big Bad Toy Store, but it was cheaper to get it from Locker Toys. And again, I'm sorry, I don't have those prices, but you have internet too if you're watching this, so go take a look and you can figure out what the price is. And if you're not sure what the conversion ratio is, just Google that too, because that's what I would have to do. But it was cheaper to get it from Locker Toys. Plus, they have the like 3-day shipping from Hong Kong, and you just can't beat that. So here's the box, and so I said version 1. So this is kind of the olive drab one. There is a version 2 that's up for pre-order, and that is the Desert Tan. I'm probably not going to get the Desert Tan one just because I'm running out of space, and one's kind of enough for me on this. It's not that it's a bad toy, it's just that I kind of want to have one that's just unique. I don't need a whole fleet of them, although it would be pretty cool to have a fleet of these things. So here's the box. It's huge. There's a wireframe drawing on one side. It says product parameters, Crazy Reload SUV, lists the materials. It's got the address for it in Beijing. Note, stay away from the source of fire. Kind of makes it sound like it has a source of fire. It does not. Do not play with violence. There is important information in the instructions of the box. Please keep it in reserve. 15 years and up, not for children under 3. So, just due to the small parts on the side, it's just two-tone Crazy Reload SUV logo on both sides. And then on the back panel, and it's not sitting quite close because I opened it last night. I got home after the flights from hell from Guyana, South America. I opened it last night because I've been waiting for a long time to see this thing, and then realized I have to put it together, and I was way too jet-lagged to try that. So the picture's on the back. We've got a profile, 3/4 view front and a 3/4 view rear. A close-up of the engine, close-up of the cockpit, the machine gun tower, and the transport cabin is what it lists. So it just lifts off the top here. It's a really nice box. So, one of the things I always review is the quality of the packaging. Something like this, I don't see the point in trying to keep it mint in box. I don't know what the collectible value of these are. It seems like something that'd be weird to keep in the box, but it's a nice box. I got a foam insert, cutout insert for it. I am not going to keep the box. I've got way too many boxes and have started cleaning out my collection of boxes. So like I said, I started putting this thing together last night. So some of these pieces are already on here. Some of them are not. So I'm gonna pull some of this stuff out and set it aside. And then here is the vehicle. And you can see on the back and the sides, there's a lot of slots for stuff. So I have not started putting stuff on it yet, obviously. The tailgate doesn't come down. It's kind of a, I think it'd been cool if the tailgate came down, but it doesn't, so oh well. It's really detailed. The sculpt underneath is even very detailed. There is no like spring action to the wheels, which also kind of but I'll live with that. The push bar on the front has these loose little toe rings, which is pretty cool. And then your hood opens. It doesn't go very far forward, but I think that's actually kind of realistic too, because something like this, you'd be like, God damn it, the hood doesn't open. I can't work on this thing. So I think that just adds a little bit of realism to it. And then I'm gonna set the box on the floor for a second. Oh, and I'm gonna have to go get the instructions to figure out where all this stuff goes. The doors swing open on this. And I think this is probably one of the coolest features I've seen on a vehicle like this. It has little fold-out grates on the doors, so your figures can stand on the grates and use the doors as shields. I think that is probably one of the coolest features I've ever seen on something like this. All right, so one of the things that I've got that I started putting on that I took off to put it back in the box, to take it out of the box for you, is a rear view mirror. So there's a clear piece of plastic on one side, so you know that's the side that faces back. It's got two prongs, and it fits into these two holes on the door right there. I would consider gluing that on, because that's gonna pop off real easily. If you're concerned about losing stuff, I might glue that in, and I actually probably will do that, because I'm not gonna repack it. It's not gonna go back in the box, and I probably actually will play with this to some extent, so I don't want to risk losing it. So I probably will glue that mirror in place. So let's see what else. Let me get the instructions so I know where everything goes on it. So the instructions are a threefold. So you got one page that shows all of the stuff that comes with it. You open it, and it's got some writing there in Chinese and English. Let's see how good the English is. It says Crazy Reload SUV Manual. There's a story to it. Are you ready for your story, children? The prototype is a logistic transport vehicle. Because of its strong environmental adaptability, sturdiness, and easy maintenance, it has been used in large numbers in the Army. However, since the rebellion of the mech forces, traditional armored vehicles have been sent to the front lines to fight against the rebel mech forces. In order to make up for lack of controllable combat forces in the Army, Crazy Reload SUV was transformed into the current combat unit and sent to various conflict areas, perform various rapid response tasks such as harassment, rescue, and investigation. That's actually not too bad compared to some of the English they've had in previous iterations in their packaging. So they may have actually gotten somebody. There's some punctuation errors, but as far as really English, it's not bad. So and then the rest of it is just the instructions on where everything goes. So let's start putting it together here. So the top comes off, the roof comes off, so you can get your figures in there. So put the roof on, and it just pops right on. And then the gun tower has a gun turret has a hatch built into it, so you can close it and open it, and that just pops onto the roof like so. And then yeah, your hatch opens and closes there, which is pretty cool. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks like a gas canister. Where does this go? All right. This goes on the side. This goes on this side here, right here like this, and it just pegs in. So one of the things I always review is like customizability. You could configure this. A lot of the pegs look like they're all the same size. So you could, if you didn't like it where it shows that it says that it needs to go, you could put it anywhere you wanted. So even without like heavy customizing, you can customize how your vehicle is set up. And then one of the other things I pulled out was spotlight, and that goes on the top of the door, and there's two of those, and so that rotates there, so it's positional. I know this is not the best setup here for the camera, but let me see if I can find a better angle for this here. Let's see. There we go. How's that? Is that better? Hopefully. So let's see what I'm going to do. I don't think that's going to set if I do that. Nope, sure is not. Maybe if I set it next to me. There we go. All right. So I've got two panels here. I think I've got to build the frame before I can put the panels on. So those go right there. Kind of pegs in there. Yeah. So those go there. The armor panels there on the sides, behind the cab. They look like they might hinge. Can't tell. Got a spare tire. It swivels on the rack, but I don't think it on the rack for it, but I don't think it comes off the rack. And that goes on the tailgate. There's a tab at the top, and it goes in a little slot at the top of the tailgate. Like so. So there you go. I think what would be cool for this is if they did like an accessory pack. So there's nice standard size slots, as if they made more equipment that would fit in those slots that you could exchange out. Okay, there's the two sides for the cage. Here is a piece of it, and there's one more piece that I need for it. I'm not seeing it here. So the inside of the box is really nice too, because it's all cut out foam. But it's really kind of hard to get the stuff out of there too, so because it all sits in the foam so well. And there's one of the guns. There's another one of the guns, or at least the barrels for the gun. I don't think those are the guns themselves. Here is the other part of the cage, it looks like. And I don't want to set that on my dog because she won't like that. So let's assemble the cage here. So that is the back of it. that doesn't look right. Yeah, I think that's right. There we go. All right, so the light bar holds your two sides of the cage together, and then you've got like a reverse light bar for the back of it, and it tabs into the inside of the cage. Yeah, the tab doesn't really want to go in there on that side. All right, so let's see how that sits in there. So there are tabs on the outside of the bed so the front of it goes on the outside of the bed, and the back of it goes on the inside of the bed. Might have been a better review if I just put it together first. I don't know. Instead of you watching me put this thing together, but at least now you know what you're up against if you get one of these things. And if you haven't already gotten it yet and you've been waiting for my review of it, because I don't know, it's kind of a pain in the ass to put together. You know, I always had a blast putting my G.I. Joe vehicles together, but if stuff didn't go together the way it was supposed to, it just was kind of irritating. And this is starting to get kind of irritating. Front doesn't want to tab in very well on this side. Mine does not want to, this side right here does not want to go in flush. I am probably going to have to sand that down a little bit to get that in there. So, well, it's pretty cool. It's annoying that I have to make modifications to get it to work right. But yeah, that is not going to go in there. It needs to be, and knock it down on the review for not going together like it was supposed to straight out of the box. But luckily, as a customizer, that's a pretty easy fix for me. All right, let's put these back on. Just peg in, and it doesn't. It looks like those are hinges that should go together, or should swivel off of something, but I don't know that there's another roof piece to this. So it's like they started designing something and didn't quite finish it. I don't know. Oh, it's a pain in the ass to get some of these things out of here. All right, so I got another spotlight here. Let's go on the opposite side right here. All right, so next we've got chairs, seats. We got 4 of those. It would have been easier to put the seats in first. That's what you get for not following the instructions, huh? And they just tab in. Nope. Yeah, see, I don't know about those side armor panels, because it looks like they were supposed to connect to something and they didn't finish that. So they don't peg in very well, because it looked like there's something else that they were supposed to connect to at the top, and that there isn't anything else as near as I can tell. So I'm gonna kind of give them knock a few points off the review for that, for like starting to engineer something and then maybe not going through with it. My guess is they tried to do something and then figured out it was going to hit the back of the turret if they put a roof on this, so they weren't able to make that work, because those just peg in, but they don't sit on very well. Barrels went on to the machine guns, but it's all one piece. All right, so mine is, I thought I was missing pieces, but I'm not. I was going to be very upset if that was the case. All right, so there's your machine guns on the turret. Okay, let me set this down. All right, I think I've got everything out of the box here. Let me just double check. And then we'll put the rest of this together here. So there's your turret. The hood doesn't like latch. I think they could have engineered it so it would like at least kind of pop into place. It doesn't, so kind of gonna ding him some points on that. So as cool as it looks, there are some flaws with this, unfortunately. So yeah, I am definitely not going to get another one of these. Not because it's not cool, but I think it needs some work still. All right, so I've got a Gary can holder. I'm gonna put that there. It looks like it's supposed to be a toolbox. I'm gonna put that there. The Gary cans actually look like they slot into a molded piece there and a molded piece there. You know, I bet if you had some Gary cans from like the G.I. Joe Vamp, I'll bet they would fit in there really well. So instead, they're just baskets. It probably would also, see, those seats are kind of wobbly in there too. So yeah, it's really cool, but it doesn't really, it looks like they started to engineer something at the top, and that doesn't really go together. The tab doesn't really fit in there on mine like it should. Let's put the steering wheel in there then too. Is there a certain way it needs to go in? Because it kind of looks like there is. No, I think it just pops in there. Yeah, it just pops in there. All right. I'm not sure where that goes. I'm gonna have to look that up. That goes on this door here. This is the other rear mirror. And the mirrors don't stand very well. So I mean, yeah, it's nice, but it's not perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna have to glue that on. It doesn't want to go on. And I thought this had some like antennas. Oh, yeah, that's what that is. That's an antenna there. That goes on there. So there's your antenna. Plugs in there. Where does that go? Last toolbox goes on this side here. So that looks pretty cool. I don't see where this tubing is supposed to go. It doesn't say. I don't see it. And it's not on the instructions. Huh. So yeah, I got some loose tubing here that I don't know where that came from. So I wonder if you follow the engine. So I got tubing, don't know where that came from. So point off for that. My mirror doesn't want to go in there. And my cage doesn't, well, there, it's sort of on there. All right, so it looks really cool. There are definitely some design flaws in this, unfortunately. The seats don't peg in very well in the back. I'll probably glue those in place. The armor panels on the sides don't stay on very well because it looks like it was supposed to clip into something and it doesn't. The rearview mirrors come off real easily. However, other than that, I mean, if and when you got this thing together, otherwise it's a really solid chunk of plastic. I mean, it other than those minor flaws, it really is a pretty cool vehicle. I don't understand the purpose of the like removable panels. I don't know. I don't get that. And there's still open slots underneath there, so it's like something else could plug in there. So I guess you could take the slots, take the armor off, and move the gas cans up, or the baskets up. I mean, so it's reconfigurable. So I mean, it's not bad. But now, of course, the $64,000 question that everybody's going to want to know is, how does it work with figures? So let me pause it real quick and go get a variety of different types of figures. So we're back. Might hear my wife typing in the background. Normally I would shoot this downstairs, but you know what? I haven't seen her for 2.5 months because I've been away. You don't like that? Too bad. Give me a thumbs down on the video. I don't care. I haven't seen her. You'd be wanting to see your wife if you hadn't seen her for 2.5 months too. So first figure I grabbed was one not everyone probably has, the War of Order. I don't actually remember what the name of this figure is, honestly. So we're gonna see how well he fits in this vehicle. So we're gonna start him off. This is too easy on this one. Drop him in the turret. He fits in the turret. Everything's gonna fit in the turret. I mean, come on, let's be honest here. All right, fits in the turret. Woo! Not a surprise, right? That was too easy. Anything's gonna fit in that. That's 1/18 scale. So I'm gonna take the roof off, and we're gonna put him in the driver's seat. He's pretty heavily articulated, so that's gonna make things a lot easier. If you do get, I know you've probably getting sick of me saying this, but if you do get one of these War of Order figures, you definitely want to soften the joints up on these first, because they are not as nicely built as the Joy Toy figures. They are awesome figures, don't get me wrong, but the joints are, I've seen a lot of people having troubles with these figures. All right, so he fits in there just fine. He may be a little small, actually. So there he is in the vehicle there. He can't quite reach the steering wheel, so there's plenty of room in there for him. That's traditionally been a problem when you try and do cross compatibility with figures and vehicles, is the cockpits are usually too small. It's been my experience. So he fits in the driver's seat just fine. He fits in the passenger seat even better because there's no room in the back. There's no steering wheel in the way. He sits nicely in the back. I'm gonna pull this panel off so you can see there a little bit better. So can you see him there? Whoops. Yeah, he didn't want to sit in there. So he sits in the back just fine, which I didn't expect that there would be an issue. So yeah, your War of Order figures are gonna see how loose that seat is. They don't peg in there very well. I guess that would be nice for customizability because you can take it out and you can remove it and put it back in, remove it, put it back in, based on how you want to configure it. But to me, it's kind of a pain in the ass because it doesn't sit in there right, or sit in there well. So War Order figure works pretty well. What else did I bring up? Oh, his head fell off. Uh-oh.
Awkward. An undesirable quality for a soldier, I feel.
Yeah. All right, so I brought up one of the Joy Toy U.S. Navy SEALs. I think these have the older crotch on these, so the legs don't go together quite as well as like the PLA figures. They don't go together well, and they don't go up very well. So that's as best of a seating position that you're gonna get with these older Joy Toy figures, because I don't really think they had planned on making vehicles at this point in time, so they really didn't articulate these things to plan to articulate these things to have them in vehicles. You're going to lose your gun for a minute too, because that's kind of in the way. But you know what? He fits in there just fine. Look at that. Even with the older crotch, so his legs don't sit right, and he's got the little peg on the back for a weapon, he still fits in there just fine. So your vehicle will support your older Joy Toy figures that don't sit well. Let's put him in the driver's seat too. Oh yeah, he fits in that just fine. All right, so some of the detractors that we've had on this vehicle, I'm gonna say that the fact that it will sit any of the Joy Toy figures, because I've got a couple of PLA figures that have the better crotch. The fact that you can still put old figures in there and have them work kind of makes up for some of the flaws that this thing has. It sits in the back just fine. Oh yeah, that looks pretty cool actually. I'm gonna pull the panel off so you can see that. And I'm just gonna kind of hold on to him so it doesn't fall out while I tilt it. So he fits in the back just fine. Yeah, now he sits in that just fine, even with the crappy legs, the crappy articulation in the hips. That was kind of the one that I was concerned, like, this might not work, because those figures weren't really meant to sit in vehicles. They weren't really designed to sit in vehicles, but nah, it works just fine. So I had also brought up one of the, oh gosh, I don't remember what, I think it's the special group figure, the ones with the nice urban camo. So his legs go together a little bit better, but they don't, they still don't go up high. Oh, he fits in there just fine. Nah, that looks really good actually. Sits in the back just fine. I'm kind of curious to see, maybe if we spread his legs a little bit, because it's going to be kind of hard to get one guy across from him too, because he takes up pretty much what you're going to have to do. I'm going to have to show you this. I'm going to have to move the phone to do this, I think, to get guys in the seats. So you have to stagger their legs, and like alternate their legs. You're gonna have to get really friendly in there. All right, so I can't flip the camera while I'm doing this, but here you go. So that's how you're gonna have to like stagger. We're focusing on the wrong spot there. There we go. So you're gonna have to kind of stagger their legs to get them to sit together in the back. All right, so let me switch back here. Work. Let's see what else I got here. Oh. All right, so Sergeant Slaughter, vintage G.I. Joe Sergeant Slaughter. Let's see how he works. Oh yeah, see, G.I. Joes are gonna go really nice with this, because they were meant to sit in vehicles. They were articulated nice. I mean, I'm not saying the Joy Toy figures aren't articulated nice, but G.I. Joe, I mean, vehicles were half the friggin' line, right? See, he fits in there just fine. He's a little underscaled maybe, but these guys are 3 3/4 inch. The G.I. Joes are 3 3/4 inch tall, whereas the Joy Toy figures are more closely to the 4-inch line. I can't really. This is kind of a pain in the ass here. Let me show you. Hang on a sec. All right, so there's Sergeant Slaughter sitting in the back. It's going to work a lot better with your G.I. Joe figures. So that's your vintage G.I. Joe figures. Hang on a sec again. What? I don't collect O-ring figures, you say? All right, not a problem, not a problem. I got you covered. Got you covered. I brought up the Sand Viper from the Return of Cobra line. No, Rise of Cobra line, sorry. I'm going to take his gear off real quick here. I really like this figure. It's an underrated figure. It's just a repaint, but I still like the figure. All right, so this is more closely to this will represent kind of like your Pursuit of Cobra line. Anything newer than, well, pretty much Rise of Cobra, because any of the older new sculpt are smaller than these guys, so they are going to fit just fine in here. And like I said, G.I. Joe figures are specifically, I don't know if they're specifically designed for vehicles, but they were made with the fact that, hey, this guy's going to probably be in a vehicle at some point in time. And yeah, he fits in there just fine. Maybe a little underscaled, but that's fine. And then let's pick him, put him in the back with Sarge. All right, so there's your Sand Viper sitting in the back with Sergeant Slaughter. I don't know why those two are getting along. Sergeant Slaughter's probably wanting to, like, I'm gonna rip you, I'm gonna send you home in an itty bitty ditty bag. Which leaves, what else did I bring? The only other figure that I brought up was, I don't know who this guy is. I stopped keeping track of the Acid Rain stuff. It's just gotten really too expensive for me to keep collecting Acid Rain stuff. They're making some awesome stuff. It's just too expensive for what it is. And these guys, the articulation in the hips is better than the Joy Toy figures. I'll give them that. So Acid Rain was specifically, again, I keep saying specifically designed. I don't know that. I don't know what they were specifically designed to do, but some of the first stuff that came out for Acid Rain were vehicles, not individual figures. So, and I'm pretty sure this guy came with a vehicle. So, whoop. Seatbelts, always wear your seatbelt. All right, so you can see the Acid Rain figures are gonna fit in there just fine. And honestly, they're gonna look really cool with this, because with the weathered paint job on this thing, it's really they'll really work nicely with that. And I did bring up another Joy Toy figure here, one of the PLA guys. And I think maybe what part of the problem there is this, the joints on the one that wouldn't sit right might be cold, because I got these guys sitting in the basement, so I haven't been down there for 2 months, so the heat hasn't been on down there. So I'm sticking him in through the driver's door just to see how well, if I wanted the roof on. And hang on a second again, and I'm going to flip the video. So here we are with the figure in the seat. So this is one of the newer PLA guys with the Acid Rain guy next to him. Got two Joey Toy figures in the back with a vintage G.I. Joe and the Rise of Cobra figure. So, and we'll call it a newer sculpt G.I. Joe figure. So let me do one final review, like a summary here. Let me flip it. So kind of a summary. I hit 3 salient points when I do a review of a toy. Number one, the packaging. Packaging on this is really cool. If you're a mint and box person, it'll look really cool on display. Even if you just display the empty box, because I know a lot of people display empty boxes as well. It's gonna look really cool on a shelf. It's not for me, because I'm just thinning out boxes. Normally I probably would have kept it, because it is really nice box. The foam insert for this thing is really nice. So it would be, if I had to move my stuff a lot, I would probably keep it, because I can break it down real easily and put stuff back in the box and have it very well protected. So definitely 5 stars on the box. Playability is the other thing that a big one that I hit on. And this thing is super playable, super playable, because they have designed the cockpit, especially the cockpit. That was the thing that I was concerned about the most. They've designed the cockpit to sit their older figures that don't sit down well. So there's a lot of space in the cockpit for figures. It's not too tight. So I'm gonna give them 5 stars for the playability, but I'm gonna knock one off for kind of design, because my cage doesn't fit on right, And this looks like these armor panels look like they were designed to hinge up into something, into like a roof, but there's no roof for it to hinge into. I think they would have been cool if there had been like a, if the cage had come forward a little bit and they could swing up and down, because that looks like what they were supposed to do, but it didn't. So, and just the fact that, like I said, my cage doesn't peg together right like it's supposed to. So I'm going to give them, knock them off on that. And then the hood is really loose, so kind of a point off for that. So I'm going to give them, like, let's call it 4 stars for playability instead of 5, just because there are some design issues to this. I won't lie. I'm probably one of Joy Toy's biggest fans, but I won't just blow smoke up your ass either and say, hey, this is awesome, you should get one because it's perfect, because it's not. And then the other point that I always hit is customizability. Straight out of the box, you can take all of this stuff off, you can put it on, you can configure it how you want. Just straight out of the box, you're going to be able to do a little customizability, kind of reminiscent of Marauder Task Force. I should have put a Marauder Task Force figure in here just because everybody's got Marauder Task Force figures, but it's going to fit in here better than your Joy Toy figures, because the joints and the hips are a lot better than the Joy Toy figures. But customizability, I don't know that there's, aside from a paint job, I don't know what else that you would want to do to this, because the sculpting is phenomenal. And there is a sticker sheet to this, which I have sitting on the table over there. I'm not going to show it to you. It's like, I don't know, maybe a dozen different stickers. But customizability, I don't know that it needs it. Not that you couldn't do something cool with it, but just straight out of the box, it is a nice toy. It is a nice solid chunk of plastic. I don't see this thing being very, I do see this thing being very stable. I don't see it breaking very easily, aside from, the little panels falling off. Like I said, I that kind of irritates me. And the seats don't sit well in the back either. Some design flaws, so, star off maybe for design flaws, but still kind of makes up for it with the fact that your older Joy Toy figures are going to sit in this thing. And customizability, I wouldn't buy it specifically for a custom, because I don't know what I would do with it, because the paint job is fantastic, the sculpt is fantastic. There's not a lot to it that you can add, just because it's really great straight out of the box. So here it is one last time. I really do like it, though. I think it's a fantastic piece. It just has a few minor flaws that I think are easy to overcome. I don't think those flaws will be fixed with the sand colored one, because it's just a repaint of this. So skipping this one and getting the sand one isn't going to fix your design flaws. It's just a repaint. I kind of would have liked to have seen the prototype, because I know they re-engineered some of this stuff for this particular one, because this is different than what the original one was supposed to be. I kind of would have liked to have seen had a prototype in hand to compare the two, to see which one was better. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I'm glad I got one. I'm happy that I have it. I probably will not get a second one, just because I don't have a lot of room, and my budget's a little tighter than it used to be, because I'm not making as much money as I used to. So I really don't need a second one, just because it's a different color. But yeah, it's still a really cool vehicle. It's still really playable. So do I recommend it? Yeah, I do recommend it. Even with the few design flaws, it's still worth picking up, I think. And again, you can get it from Big Bad Toy Store. and I got mine from Locker Toys. I'm pretty sure those are still in stock. Hang on a second, let me look. All right, I got my computer here, so let's hang on a second. I'll do some math for you. Math makes sucks the fun right out of everything. Izzy, be quiet. Because
she doesn't want you to do math.
She doesn't want me to do math. She wants me to play with her because she hasn't seen me for 2.5 months. All right, Locker Toys. Let's see. Let's see if they have it in stock still first. So the pre-order is still up for the sand-colored one. Let me double check because it looks like it's just a straight repaint. Yeah, it's just a straight repaint in tan color. It is 870 UK because there is a discount, 5% discount for the pre-order. Remember, Locker Toys offers a discount, pre-order discount, and that pre-order ends in 7 days and 19 hours from now. This video will go up probably today or tomorrow. Today is the 21st, so if you get that pre-order in by the end of the year, you should be okay. Let's find out how much 870 UK or Hong Kong dollars are. Copy that, because my conversion app is on my phone, which is what I'm using to record the video. So dollar to USD is it's 112 bucks. So this thing's 112 bucks plus shipping. I don't know what the shipping is. It's going to vary, so I can't tell you what the shipping is going to be. So that's on the pre-order for the tan one. Let's see if they have let's see if they still have this one in stock. They do still have. Oh well, no, it's on there. It is showing that it, as near as I can tell, it is in stock. Status released. This item is released. It doesn't say out of. It does. They do have an out of stock label, and it is not showing out of stock on this particular vehicle. The price on this is 930 Hong Kong dollars. Let's convert that real quick. So you can see that the it's $119. So your discount saves you $7, which may cover your shipping. I don't know. I kind of haven't been tracking my shipping on this. I've just been too impressed by the 3-day shipping. I'm like, I don't care how much it costs. 3-day shipping from Hong Kong is awesome. So that's how much it costs from Locker Toys. Let's look at Big Bad Toy Store real quick because that's the other place. I bet they don't have this in stock yet. Although this has been out for a while, so who knows. Big Bad Toy Store, Joy Toy. They have the pre-order for the sand-colored one up for $119. So they're actually competing. So it's still cheaper to get it from Locker Toys, and I'll bet with the shipping, it's still cheaper to get it from Locker Toys at this point in time. They do have this colored one in stock. No, it's still up for pre-order for the. My dog's trying to fluff the carpet here underneath. That's what the scratching noise is. So they do not have this in stock yet in Big Bad Toy Store, and they want $130 for it. Your best bet still is Locker Toys. This is why I've stopped. One of the reasons I've really cut back getting stuff from Big Bad Toy Store, because you're paying them to ship it to them and then paying them again to ship it to you. Whereas Locker Toys pretty much just like here we will, whatever it costs us to drive across the street and get it from Joy Toy, we'll eat that cost, and then just whatever it costs us to ship it to you for 3 days is awesome. So there you go. That's the price. It's available in stock at Locker Toys, and both of those are up for pre-order through Big Bad Toy Store. It's still cheaper to get it from Locker Toys. I know that's usually a question people ask, and I never have that answer, but this time I do. So thank you for watching. Do all that fun social media stuff like the video, share the video, subscribe to my channel, and of course comment below. If you have questions on the vehicle, I do try and get back to all the comments. I've been away for 2.5 months just due to work. I sat down and answered all the comments that I had not answered in my absence. So if you got questions about the vehicle, if you've got questions about figure compatibility, was there a figure from a particular line that you would want to see if this fit in this vehicle or not, hit me up with that in the comments below, and I will see what I can do to answer your question for you. And as always, thanks for watching, and stay tuned because I got more videos planned.